conference rival going into this one. Welcome, folks, and thanks for sharing part of your weekend with us here at 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan. I'm with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. The Nets will look to their home court advantage, just one game here in Brooklyn. Still trying to find that groove they had last year. They'd like to grab hold of some new momentum and get closer, Steve, to where they were a season ago.
Well, I think for Brooklyn, they've had a heck of a time of it from day one this season. It's still way too early to start writing their obituary, but they have struggled.
Well, they have, Clark, and you're right, this season is so long that there's plenty of time to turn things around, but now would be a pretty good time to start.
Now let's take a look at the Bulls' opening lineup. Inside at the 4 and 5 are Gasol and Noah. Jimmy Butler is out there with Mr. Perfect, and it's Andrews in at the 3 spot. Now here's Williams. He just could not put it together in that loss to Philadelphia. Johnson dishes to Williams. Over to the wing. Shot clock at 5. Here's Bogdanovich from out on the wing. He knocks it down. Bogdanovich has got the game going with his first points of the game for Brooklyn.
The Nets were not a high-octane offensive team. They didn't average 100 points a game, but they were one of the more efficient teams in the league at the offensive end of the floor.
Nice work there coming off the screen. The Brooklyn Nets come into this one following a loss to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, they probably should have abandoned the three-point shot in that game because their percentage was terrible. But they kept firing away from long range.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I thought that was one of the things that doomed them. You can't stick with something if it's not working for you. Kevin Garnett was the 5th pick back in 1995. He's had a long, illustrious Hall of Fame career. He was the league MVP back in 2004.
And Kevin Garnett, a 15-time All-Star, guys, over his great career.
And he's always been a team-first superstar. Kevin, very loyal, competitive. Never really wanted to be traded away from either Minnesota or Boston because of that loyalty. But a player who just gives his all every second on the floor for his teammates. Perseverance paying off on the offensive boards, guys.
Brooklyn with the ball. Williams kicks to Garnett. It's good. Great play by Williams to set it up.
Oh, Maestro, he is so good at making those lead passes, like conducting an orchestra.
Here's Cowboy. He's guarded by Williams. They now take the lead. Cowboy's got 5 points so far.
It's going to be tough for the defense today. If he's got his A game rolling here tonight, we'll see.
Outside Williams.
Brook Lopez managed 17 games last year before needing season-ending surgery on that right foot. That's his 3rd surgery on the foot in less than 2 years. And that's the question now. Can he stay healthy?
And for the Nets last season, it seemed that they found their rhythm as a team once Lopez was out. How could that be?
Sometimes you lose a key cog in your offense and in your team, and other guys step up. You change how you're playing, and guys get some confidence, and they're all pros now. So when the opportunity knocks, guys are ready to step into that role and fill the gap. And I think that's what happened. That's just run-of-the-mill for him. A typical day at the office. He's one of the more skilled offensive players out there.
Williams passes to Lopez. Lopez sets a screen for Johnson. Out left to the wing. Here's Bogdanovich. The three-pointer is right on target. Bogdanovich has got 5.
How in the world did they let him get that wide open?
Andrews. That's good.
Assisted.
For Brooklyn, they've gone 3 of 4 from the field to start out the game. Williams kicks to Lopez. Over to the left wing. Bogdanovich offline with his 3. Bulls have gone 5 of 7 today so far. Nice shooting to get this game underway. It's tipped. Williams with the steal. And they're on the break. Here's Bogdanovich. Passes to Mr. Perfect. The 15-footer, and it's Chicago scoring again.
That's a clean look they gave him there, fellas, and he drains those.
Brooklyn trailing. Left side Williams. Johnson sends the screen for Williams. Pass to Bogdanovich. Back to Williams. 6 to shoot. Johnson outside. Fires for 3. And it's Chicago with the rebound. Cowboys got 3 rebounds now in this one. Here's Tyus. It's blocked. And that's out of bounds. Chicago will retain possession. And now let's highlight the highest scoring teams in the NBA. Number 1, the Bulls.
Kevin, if there's any stat you want to lead the league in, it would certainly be scoring the most points. They've been remarkable in the numbers they've put up as a team all season long. It's a reflection of their strength. They're balanced and they're explosive.
Mason Plumlee's checked in for the Nets, and he gets the bucket.
They had that play ready to go. Well done on the inbound.
Nets trail by 4. It's Williams with the drive. There's the bucket. Good. Now Butler. In the game against Boston, very impressive. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
Well, a tough shooting slump for Jimmy Butler last season. Some injuries took him out of rhythm. He was asked to play a bigger role offensively after Luol Deng was traded. Still, he's become one of the premier defensive players in the league.
And Jimmy Butler, a fan favorite in Chicago, taken with the 30th pick back in 2011. And he really is a tenacious defender.
Yeah, he's a tough-minded, scrappy player. I mean, you hear about his tough upbringing. It's easy to see why he approaches the game with that fearlessness and determination that he plays with.
Brooklyn's gone 1 of 3 from beyond the arc so far in the game. Williams up on top, defended by Butler. Lopez kicks to Plumlee. And Williams, here we go. The shot, no good. And in Chicago the other way. Their last game, a win against Boston, looking to carry it into this one.
And you know what was most impressive? They wasted very few possessions in that game. They ran their offense close to perfection.
That's what we call a mute button game in front of a hostile crowd. They never let the fans get into it. Had them on their hands the whole time.
And the shot is good.
I like the offensive awareness to exploit that lack of coverage on that play.
And the first timeout called of the game for Brooklyn. Not a lot of people thought, Steve, that Chicago had a chance last year to do much when Derrick Rose went down, but they stuck with it and ended up in the playoffs nonetheless.
And they didn't just make the playoffs. They had home court advantage in the first round as well.
Here's Bogdanovich. An easy layup after coming off the pick. Bogdanovich has got 7 points in the game.
You know, they've scored several times already here in the first quarter down low. I like that.
Yeah, me too, Clark. I think anytime you have success pounding the ball inside, you got to continue to go to the well.
So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up.
Unfortunately for the Bulls, home court advantage really didn't do much for them as they dropped their first 2 games at home and were bounced in the first round. Another example of why home court advantage is desired, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee anything in the playoffs. Matchups drive results.
Now here's Johnson. The 9-foot shot. Good.
Those defenders look like they're out of gas. I mean, they're getting pushed around on the low block.
Well, their energy is lacking. They've got to start playing harder and battle down in the paint.
Here's Tyus. The lead is 2. And he lays it straight in. Mr. Perfect's got 6.
Well, the Bulls ran into a solid Wizards team and lost in the first round of the playoffs. It looked to me like they might have been worn down. And I think a healthy Bulls team with a little more depth is definitely a threat to go deeper this season.
Now here's Williams. Right now averaging 15 points a game.
Here it is again. On a lot of their possessions this first half, they've established great position inside.
Yeah, getting the ball into the post should be their first option every time down. Force the defense to adapt and adjust.
It's good. This game is all even. 6 points for him.
You know, they're being very one-dimensional right now, going to the post every time. But if it works, you don't need another dimension.
Well, they're taking this defense to task, quite honestly. Every one of their last 10 points have come in the paint.
Here's Cowboy. He had a 24-point outing in their last game against the Celtics in Boston. They've definitely hit that groove offensively.
They sure have, guys. I mean, really aggressive. And I like that posture and mindset. Stay aggressive.
Yeah. Steve, you like groove, don't you?
I do. I love groove, Kevin, and I love the attack mode this team is in, too. I mean, they're really getting into the paint. They're getting whatever they want offensively.
Here's Cowboy. After the basket by Brooklyn, he had a nice open look right there. Cowboys got the game tied up here for the Bulls. Outside Williams. Johnson sends the screen for Williams. And Bogdanovich kicks to Williams. 6 to shoot. Johnson dishes to Williams. There's the 3. Chicago grabs the miss. They're getting their first look of the season at the Nets in this one.
Yeah, these were two of the top teams in the conference a year ago. And I'll tell you what, this club was really at their best in those games. The season series really belonged to them.
Here's Tyus. He really was a guy who also stepped up in that game against the Celtics. The Bulls need to get a shot off here. The long distance 3 is buried. And it's a 3-point Chicago lead. You just can't overstate how important those matchups between the top conference teams are.
So there's always a lot at stake, Kevin. You want to get that good seed in the spring. Both these teams know every game is going to be a battle.
And these players think about that.
Yes.
They know about the seeding.
They sure do. They've got it in their minds.
Here's what Brooklyn's going with right now. Mirza Teletovic is checked in for Lopez. Alan Anderson comes in for Johnson. And Jarrett Jack has subbed in for Williams. All right, we'll take a look now at how the points have been generated so far. A scoring breakdown for the Bulls.
Now, they didn't waste any time getting into a groove out there. They're dialed in from long range.
They're crashing the offensive glass hard, too. I mean, they've dropped in several second-chance baskets.
Now here's Rose. He had 16 points in the win against the Celtics in Boston.
And he was disruptive defensively, too, Kevin, really aggressively trying to make plays. In fact, he had 4 steals during that game.
Steve, they've come out with a take-no-prisoners approach on the glass today.
Yeah, that's impressive, too. Clark's already gotten them a +5 margin in the rebound column.
And that one's good.
They've got to continue to put pressure on the defense by probing inside. That's what's really working for them.
And when you're doing the job they are inside, it takes pressure off the perimeter guys.
Here's Cowboy. He's got 13. Gibson setting the pick for Brooks. There's 1:47 left in the first quarter. Rose against Jack. Shot on the wing. Rose, no good. The Nets with the lead. It's Anderson with the drive. Outside Jack. Back to Anderson. He kicks it to Teletovic. Anderson passes to Jack. Ring shot on the way. No good.
Great defense there. You really have to challenge him at that range.
Outside Rose. Gibson a screen. Brooks kicks to Gibson. Pass to Andrews. It's stolen by Jack. Oh, and here we go. Jack into the hoop. And he lays that one in. Jack's got 6.
Boy, they are just destroying them in the paint.
You could say that again, Steve. The defenders just aren't aggressive enough down low.
Doubled by Jack to the paint. And out of bounds as the Nets gain possession.
I tell you what, that's just a major unforced error right there, guys. My goodness.
Dishes it to Plumlee. Feeds to Anderson. The pass to Bogdanovich. Mirotic brings the double team. Fires at the elbow. A nice shot by Bogdanovich. And it's a 5-point Nets lead.
This switch has definitely been flipped to on this quarter, guys.
Rose attacking. Blocked. And now in transition is Jack. Here we go. And it's blocked by Rose. Here's Andrews. That will count. That misses. Would have counted had it gone in. All right, the second quarter beginning in just a moment. And from Brooklyn, guys, what jumps out to you stat-wise?
I'll tell you what, I like what I've seen from this club defensively. They're forcing a lot of turnovers with their quick hands and ability to play the passing lanes.
Well, you talk about